Dear students, so very good morning to all of you. Okay. So actually, I want to discuss the PPT regarding the how to train the neural network in the MATLAB. So first, we're going already as I said all in the class. There's a single layer feed forward network. In the single layer feed forward network, we having only layers. One is input layer, another one is output layer. Okay. So this is called as neurons, and this is called as neurons. Okay, so we having several neurons input layer, we having several neurons output layer. So depending upon the inputs, okay, depending how much inputs, we have to select the neurons. Depending upon how much outputs, we are selecting that much of neurons in the output layer. So this is a single layer feed forward network. The input is coming and output is there. Okay, so the input is interconnected with the each and every outputs. As like that, we can find each and every input is interconnected with each and every neurons in the output, and we having some weights. Okay, so what happens if you want to calculate theoretically? That means yes, mathematical computation is possible, but if you having n number of neurons in the input and n number of neurons in the output, it is very difficult to find out the weights. And if sometimes what happens, we have to tune the weights. It's very difficult here. So what happens? Only we are proposing a soft computing algorithm that is called as neural network to tune the weights automatically or to fit the weights automatically to get the defined output as per the input. Okay, this is called a single layer feed forward network. If we come into next multi-layer feed forward network, okay. So here in the name itself, we having multi layers. This is input layer, this is output layer, and this is a one in layer. This is called as hidden layer. Okay. So what happens? Hidden layer will will be act between the input and output layer. Okay, to get what I'm saying that why in detail is incorporated in between the input and output layer means that increase the efficiency, increase the accuracy. Okay, so what happens as like the single input layer, the input layer receives an input and buffers input signal to the hidden layer. The output layer gets the signal from the hidden layer, okay, and gives what happens and gives the outputs. Okay, so the layer between input and output is layer is called as hidden layer. So hidden layer is internal to network, and finally what happens? What are the inputs giving? Okay, it will transfer to hidden layer, and from the hidden layer, that means from that each and every neurons hidden layer is interconnected to the each and every neuron to the output layer. So we are having so many. So we calculate this weights, input hidden layer weights, output hidden layer weights. So what happens if you go into single layer? So to some extent only we can tune the weights, and probably we cannot get the accurate output. But here what happens? We are adding an input layer, so we can tune the weights here. We can tune the weights here. What happens if it's very difficult to tune the entire weights to, and the weights will be tuned to some extent only. Okay. If we, here what happens? We can tune the weights. Okay. What we can tune the weights. Not to that limit, okay, up to the possible sites, and we can find out the defined output. Okay, this is called as multi-layered systems. Okay, and we having the recurrent networks and feedback networks. Recurrent network is the same network. The output is taken as a input to the input layer. Okay, and again it's trained. Again it's trained like as a multi-layer feed forward algorithm. So you can find out multi-layer feed forward network. There are so many layers feed forward. Okay, from year to year, from year to year. Okay. So if they are not getting the output, again the weights will be tuned. Okay. Again, whatever the input neurons connected to this neuron, again the weights also tuned. Okay, as like that, what happens? Okay, each and every weights will be tuned until to the defined extent. Okay, that is called as multi-layer feed forward algorithm. Okay, and coming to feed forward back propagation network, back propagation algorithm. So I'm going to take one hands-on experience as per the back propagation algorithm. This is called as input layer. So what happens? We have an input layer, we have a hidden layer, we have the output layer. As already said, multi-layer feed forward back propagation algorithm. Here, multi-layer feed forward. I'm using one algorithm. It's called as back propagation algorithm. Okay. So what am I back propagation? So if we not getting the defined output, again what happens? The weights will be tuned. So with respect to neuron, the weights will be tuned. That is called as back propagation. So the weights will be tuned depending upon the output what is given. Okay. So depending upon input given, depending upon output given, okay, automatically it can tune the weights. If the weights not fitted properly, then you cannot predict the defined output from the output layer. Okay. So what happens depending upon the weights, okay. So you'll get one computational model, the back end, okay. And if you whatever the input you needed, if you apply the computation model, it will give the output. How the output is given means depending upon the given input and given output, it will be trained automatically with respect to weights. Okay. So actually, it's a stage of backpropagation algorithm, backpropagation training algorithm. So what happens? You can find out initialization of the weights. First one is initialization of the weights, and parallelly what happens? Second is feed forward. Okay, third one is backpropagation of the errors, and then fourth one is updation of the weights. So what do you mean by updation of the weights? Come here. So initialization of weights, feed forward, backpropagation errors, updation of the weights. That means what you are saying that initialization of the weights, and weights will feed forward with this input to here and will get output. For example, year 2, year 3. Okay. So what happens? Yeah, it will be into 1, 2 plus 1, 3. Okay. What sometimes what happens, as like that, so many neurons interconnected. But what happens if this neural process here? For example, this neuron is connected to the interconnected to the first hidden layer. So 3 into 1, 3, already 2 is there. Okay. So what happens, what I am saying that we cannot predict the weights, we cannot compute the weights very clearly with mathematical model or computing model. So what happens, it will tune the weights. Sometimes with respect to input, with respect to output, the weights will be tuned that sometimes the weights will be tuned. That means its training will be goes up to 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. You have to find the exact weights here. So what happens? Sometimes you will not get the weights. There's chance of error. The error will be propagated. To minimize the error, okay, the weights will be again propagated until you get the different weights. Okay, this is called as back propagation algorithm. Okay, so back propagation means what happens? It will be propagated depending upon the what are the output you needed. That's what the input. The weights will be tuned until error will be minimized. Okay. That's again initialization of the weights, feed forward, backpropagation errors, updation of the weights and basis. So what happens if you find any errors? It says that, for example, 1 mm error is there, 1 mm error is there. So try to tune the weights until to minimize the 1 mm. Okay. So for example, our output should be 35, but actually it should be 32. So three value of 3 mm is difference is there. Okay. So what happens, you can take any value. For example, mm I am taking 3 mm value is difference is there. So if I want to fit exactly to 32 mm, I want to tune the weights. If sometimes, okay, again, so even to tune the weights, it will not be possible. Again, it will be propagated here. So again, this weight will also be tuned here. Okay. So what once it will weights will be propagated and tune the weights here, you'll get the defined output. That is called as back propagation algorithm. So first step is initialization of the weights. Step 1. First, you have to initialize the weights and you have to give the inputs. Okay. So what happens? Second step is give the inputs. Input and weights will be transferred to the hidden layer. Okay. In the hidden layer, we have applied one algorithm. We are having so many algorithms. So first, we are proposing a back propagation algorithm. Okay. In the back propagation algorithm, okay. So we have to apply some activation function, learning function. Okay. That means we have to fix some threshold. Okay. With the threshold, what happens? You just put input layer and output layer. Hidden layer is going to trained. Means hidden layer is also, let's put input output layer. Hidden layer is also that. So all the 3 layers will be trained. Let's put the threshold. Let's put algorithm and gives the output. Okay. So once the algorithm gives output, that means once the system is trained, what are the inputs, what are the outputs needed with respect to the inputs, you can give the input and you can get the output. For example, so we are going to use a 2 transfer function, that's activation function, that's threshold function, log sigmoid and pan sigmoid. Okay. So log sigmoid is nothing but it values between 0 to 1, and pan sigmoid is for the and generates values between -1 to +1. Okay. That means sorry, I'm mistakenly indicates that log sigmoid, that's pan sigmoid. You can find out log sigmoid is values from 0 to 1, pan sigmoid is -1 to +1. Okay, that's a threshold function what you're going to fix for training algorithm. And as I already said, supervised learning and unsupervised learning. Supervised learning means giving the input. Okay, you're giving the input, and parallelly what happens? So and parallel feed forward back propagation algorithm is that means one feedback system is there, and if find out any error is there, it's again forward to neural network to minimize the error. Okay, so that means, for example, learning with the help of the teacher. So the teacher has trained you, and if you done any problem, the teacher will correct you with respect to the error. That means learning for the small child. So initially, the child does not know how to read and write. every action is supervised by teacher. As like that, what happens initially we have to train the neural network as a trainer. After that, once it is trained, what happens? It is unsupervised learning system. Is that okay? It is that means if you add any error, the error will be rectified by you. Once the system is trained, then what happens automatically? That is an intelligent system that is called as unsupervised training algorithm. Depending upon that, not that means depending upon it, the unsupervised learning means it actually predicts what's going to be happen. Okay, that is called as a unsupervised learning algorithm without help of the teacher, without any guys, without any things, without any, it's not dependent on anything. It is except input and output. System, the algorithm goes to the learning system's going to work. Okay, so what I am saying that if you find error, if you find any error, the error will be rectified by tuning the weights, by tuning the some inputs here. Automatically you get the different output. Okay, that is called as supervised learning. If you go into unsupervised learning, no. For example, if you take a learning is performed with help of without help of teacher, that means learn to swim by itself. For example, here no feedback is applied to the environment. No feedback comparator is that the comparator trains the will compare the actual array and compare actual output and performance output and says that this much error is there. This type of things is not possible here. Okay, so from the figure it is observed that no feedback is applied from the environment, okay, to inform what output is going to be correct. For example, what I'm saying that having feedback is there, but we're not having any system is there to compare this much error is there. Okay, so what happens? The network itself discovers patterns, regularities, features, categories from the input data and relations for the input data. What after that means the system is going to be trained automatically. For example, if the guy is jumping in a swimming pool, he knows how to jump in the swimming pool. Okay, that means he knows. For example, if a small guy, if he trained automatically in swimming, yes, he can do it. But initially, if we can find out the coach will be okay, put it in that swimming pool automatically to some extent. After that, he will comes up. Okay, as like that, he want to train. The system have to train by themselves depending upon the inputs and outputs. Okay, and find out if any error is there. The system itself, yes, without any external disturbance, without any extra interventions. Okay, what happens? It goes to here and says that this much error is there. This much error is there. Again, you have to tune to some extent. Again, after tuning, you will get the output. Okay, so what happens? This things will be app and as like the what happens supervised learning, but here we're not having external interventions. Okay, not any external guys are there to tune the systems until get the defined output. Okay, so it will say find out any output is problem means X goes there and find out any problem in the system, okay, or any network. So what happens? It try to tune automatically as like that. Okay, if you're going to supervised learning, one guy is there, one generator is there, and says that this much error signal is there, you tune to some extent. This much extent you tune. But here, what happens? Yes, we cannot find out any generators there. It outputs and goes to here. And what happens? It tries to find out. Okay, this much error is there, so I have to tune myself up to some extent. As like that, the system itself having the capability to tune by itself to get the defined output. Okay, it's called as self-organizing. Okay, so here one external person is there. Here we are not having external person, any external guys, any external intervention. So what happens? They are self-organizing. If we come into reinforced learning, okay, the teacher indicate it's a combination of what I'm saying that we can find out that this advanced learning. Teacher indicates a computer input is correct anchor, which helps the network gets learning process. That means we are having network, actual output is coming, error signal is there. The error signal is going to here. Error signal, how we find out error means with the help of the teacher. Okay, that means it is similar to supervised learning only. It is similar to the supervised learning. What happens? Here we are not having in supervised learning, we are not having the reinforced signal. That means what happens? The external reinforced signal is not there. Okay, so what happens? The signal generator compares the actual output and the performance output. Can say for this much error is there. Sometimes, okay, the system cannot say that accurately. So reinforced signal is there. An external guy is there. Okay, to find out yes, this much error is there accurately. Okay, so this is error signal generator without reinforced signal, that is called as supervised learning. It says that only this much error is there. It not predict accurately. It not says that this much error is accurately. But if you come in reinforced signal, he exactly fix this limits. Okay, and this limits, okay, what happens, what's output is coming, the output is comparing with this predefined signal what's given by reinforcement and says this much error is there. So what happens, I have to rectify this much error signal goes to network and network correctly rectifies the error. But going to supervised learning, what happens, it is supervised learning, what happens in the supervised learning, we cannot, error is there, but we cannot say exactly that this much of error is there. This much errors will be there, will be predicted by, will be said by the learning systems from the reinforced learning systems only. That means what I'm saying, that the external reinforcement are processed in the critical generator and the applied is sent to the ALN for adjustment of weights properly to get the critical feedback in future. Sir, I want to predict the system exactly 0.001 means yes, I want to give the reinforcement signal here. So from that signal it goes to the network and then it gives the actual output. Okay. Here, the teacher does not present the target output of the network, but present only a pass or fail indication. He says that yes, whether it's a pass or fail. Okay. If the teacher indication, for example, the teacher indication is bad, the network reaches parameters tries again until it gets the output response right. That means you will not say this much error is there, this much. Uh, for example, you're delaying, you're lagging to some extent. Okay, as like that, it will not say. Okay. So what happens if the teacher indication is good, not a problem. The teacher indication is bad, it will not say this much error is there. You have to tune to some extent. No, it's not like that. Okay, he says that there are again what happens. You need to find out where is the error. Okay, with respect to the weights, again it find out the weight, it find out the problem and type in the weights. You get the defined system. That is called as a reinforced learning. So you can find out the here single layer feed forward network algorithm. Okay. So single layer feed forward network. So here what happens, you can find out that is strategy of the define input output data from the exploratory analysis, frame the architecture neural network, train the neural network, evaluate the network performance validation data, predict the data of the network. That means what I am saying that here, the define input and output data from the exploratory analysis. That means you have to feed the input and output data, and probably you have to train the neural network architecture, then train the neural network, and what happens, evaluate the network. That means what a network you have to predict from the neural network. Yes, you have to give the input and you can get the output. After that, you have to make a comparative analysis of the prediction data with the already observed data. Then you can find out how much we are lagging. What's the performance of the single forward network? Okay. As I already said, the single forward network, we having, for example, I am taking a one sample example. Okay, so first we are going for hands-on. First we have to say the percentage of load fuel band. For example, I am saying. So we have two inputs and probably we are having 10 outputs. Okay, layer 0 input left. For example, I am saying, okay, what are two input and number of outputs. We are not having any hidden layers here. Okay. So what happens? The network is performance is measured through correlation coefficient, mean relative error, and root mean square. That means how the network is good means by making comparative analysis between the predicted value and the experimental value. What are things are going to have it, and it says that correlation coefficient is there, MRR is there, mean lead square, RSM is there. That means it purely depends upon the correlation coefficient. Okay. It assesses the strength of relationship between the predicted experimental values. Okay, that means what I'm saying that uh, uh, that means it says that so depending upon the correlation coefficient only you have to say that the network is good or not. Okay. So correlation coefficient varies between -1 to +1, and R value closest to 1 indicates a strong positive relationship and R value closest to -1 indicates a stronger negative relationship. Okay. So +1 indicates a stronger positive relationship, -1 indicates a strong negative relationship. You're going to always positive. So what happens? Yes, you're going to 0 to 1. 0 to 1, and generally what happens in network, we say the network is good means correlation coefficient should be greater than 0.9. Okay, 0.9 to 1 means X. It's exactly super. Okay, so here you can take it. Uh, you can take it. This example we are having in the training 70% values, testing 30% the values. Okay, so actually what happens? This is a values. What I'm going to make a network. Okay, so what happens? I'm having some 21 readings, 21 set of readings. I'm not going to train all the things in the network. So what are things I highlighted? I keep it for training. What are things I not highlighted? Sorry, what are things highlighted? I keep it for training. What are things are not highlighted? It's kept for testing. Okay. So generally, what happens in the research? 70% of values are used for 70+% values are used for training. Okay, and 70 remaining 30% values are used for testing. Okay, so what happens here among 21? Okay, here I am using 13 readings and 8 readings for testing. That means 70% of values are used for training. With that values only I can predict the remaining 30% of values. Okay, if it goes like that, what happens? We cannot go for all the attempts for each and every experiment. Okay, 70% experiment is, if we made a trial run for the experiment with that 70%, yes, I can predict, means yes, the time is, we can minimize the time. Okay, and value each and every input, this input and this output, okay, we are having the different range. See, the each and every input is having the different range, different uniqueness value. Okay, so you have to convert all the values. We have to convert all the values into the norm. We have to convert, means you have to normalize all the values between 0 to 1. After that, we have to make an attempt with unit. Okay, so uh, see, I am going to train the 70% of values here. Okay, testing is 30% of values. So I am going to take only this values for training. The remaining, that means, sorry, this is input, this output. Okay, the remaining values are not highlighted, which is for testing. Okay, after that, what happens? Yes, I'm having the values, and similarly, what are the values I'm having with this training? I'm going to train with the training network. I'm going to predict this thing. I predicted this thing. Okay, I predicted this thing, and I'm going to compare the graph. I'm going to make a comparative analysis. So once a comparative analysis said, I already said, yes, I want to make a graph between experimental breakthrough efficiency and predicted thermal efficiency. Okay, correlation coefficient should be greater than 0.9, means yes, it is acceptable. But you see, it's very less. Okay, so what happens here? Come here. I'm going to say how we have to train the neural network. Okay, so try to open the MATLAB software. Okay, so you have to open the MATLAB software, means try to. I'm going to train you. I'm going to give hands-on experience to you. So type NN tool. Okay, once if you type NN tool, sorry, this window will be open for you. Okay, this window will be open for you. Yeah, this window will be open for you. So what happens? So kindly be listen very carefully. So I'm going to add the data. Okay, so first what happens? New, I am going for the option new, data 1. Data 1 is a input. Okay, I'm clear. Okay, so it's take any inputs. Okay, and data 2 is the that I am having, uh, data 1 is input, data 2 is the target, means output data. Okay, yes, I created. Okay, so what happens? Data 1 is that, data 2 is that. I don't bother about any format. Okay, I want to export data 1 to data 1 to my import data 1. Okay, import data 1, data 2, sorry, you have to export. So export all the data 1, data 2. That means I'm going for select all, export variables have been exported to workspace. Okay, means you can find out actually data 1 and data 5 is workspace. Don't bother about the value. Okay, once it is okay, close it. Okay, minimize this window, go for data 1. So some sample formats are there. Okay, so what I'm doing here, okay, in the PPT I'm having some values. Am I correct? So I copy this value, this is input. Am I correct? So this is a value. I'm pasting this value. For example, just a minute. Okay, so what's the problem is, uh, okay, so why I'm saying that is the same input is here. Okay, same thing is there. Okay, so what happens? Yes, I want to convert this vertical into horizontal like this. Training specially, external specially, what I showed in the PPT. Training specially, and this thing specially. Okay, so what happens? 5 5. Okay, so I want to take this input. This thing is input layer, because already I said render node is input. Okay, so what happens? Go here. Okay, so paste it. Okay, so this input is placed. Means 2 rows, 13 values. Okay, coming here, data 2. So what happens here? Take this value. Okay, take this value. Go to again MATLAB file. Data 2 is the what I said already. Output network. Okay. Now the two data are ready. Okay. So what happens again? Go here. Import. That means it is in the workspace. Okay. Already exported and copy the data and it's workspace. Okay. It's very difficult to enter your data each and everything in this new network data manager. So what happens? When I export this data on data in the workspace, I feed the data 2 into 13 and 5 into 2 inputs, 13 columns, 5 into 13 columns. Okay. Again, I want to import from that like workspace. Okay. Yes, I'm going to import the data. One is the input data. Okay. Data 2 is the target data. Okay. So I'm going to import it. Yes. So now what happens? Kindly click it. Yes. What the data was previously changed to like this. It's a matrix. It's changed to like this. Okay. So what happens now? So the input data and target data is ready to train the network. Now I have to train the network. How you have to train the network? So we are not having any hidden layers. So I am saying that go to network. Okay. I'm going to set the feed forward. Since we are having so many algorithms, we are going to see only the feed forward back propagation algorithm. Feed forward back propagation algorithm. So what is the input data? I already said input data is data 1. So data 1. What's the target data? I already said that target data is data 2. Okay. And parallelly, training function is train alarm. Okay. And if you're going to adoption learning algorithm, leave it. These things I don't touch it. I will explain to you. Coming here, how many layers are there? Actually, what's the input? How many layers are there? So here only 2 layers. But what happens? Here we have to enter 3 layers. I'll explain why. So 3 layers enter. Okay. So what happens? Go layer 1. How much neurons are there? I already said 2 neurons are there. What are the input? Y feeder is 2 neurons. Depending upon the inputs, 2 inputs are there. Okay. It should be dancing. After that, coming to layer, what's output? How much outputs are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, 5 outputs are there. Okay, so dancing. Let's come to layer 3. We are not having layer 3. It's a dummy layer. What happens? That is pure linear. That means what I am saying here. PPT. So what happens here? Giving input and sigmoid, output is pure linear. But getting the input is and sigmoid. Getting the input to the output is transmit, but output should be pure linear. That's the thing I said here. Okay, that's the thing I said here. The layer 1 is 2 neurons tan sigmoid. Layer 2 is 5 neurons tan sigmoid. Layer 3 is nothing, pure linear. Okay, so create. Yes, new network called network is added to the network data manager. Okay, and network is created. Now the network is created. So we are not having any hidden layers. We are having only one layer, input layer. We are having second layer, output layer. Not having any hidden layers. Okay, so network 1. Okay, so if once you create this thing, network 1 will be added to the network manager. Click 1, go train. Okay, so go train. What happens? Input is data 1. In target is data 2. That means you have to address the again same thing to train your network. Okay, so training parameters actually epochs. So don't touch anything except 2 boxes, 2 options. Epochs means iterations. How much iterations you have to go? I have to go for. Okay, you have to process. That means you have to recheck the process 1 second, 1 second, 1 second. As like that, I'm going to fix for 1 lakh iterations. Okay, how much error should be there? That means goal. Okay, my error should be 0.001. 001 or 0.001, it's up to you. 0.001. Okay, so what happens? I'm going to train the network. Okay, so once you train the network, you will get that like this. Okay, so what happens? It goes for this network, it goes for only 9 iterations. Okay, so 9 iterations. So what happens? You can find out the performance is best validation performance 148.664 at Epicos 3. At Epicos 3. So what happens? We can find out the time is 0, Epicos is 9 iterations, and finally what happens? I will interrupt how this Epicos related to your interruption. Okay. So what happens? This performance is there. Am I correct? This performance is there. Only 3 iterations goes. Okay, I will explain what's the thing is going to be happen here. Okay. So yes, this is things happen. After this closing this thing, come here. Okay, so what happens now? The network is trained with respect to your input and output. It goes for 1 lakh iterations, but it's not possible, not needed for 1 lakh iterations. It goes for only 9 iterations, 3 to 9 iterations, and stop at that. Okay, so your network is trained. Okay, this is for your sample. This is sample understanding given this thing. Okay, so after that, close it again. Go. I want so now network is trained again. I want to test it. Am I correct? So so new. Again, you want to add the data 3 as the input. What's the data 3 is input. What's the input is there here? So I want this already trained. These things are trained. First I want next I want to check the testing. Okay, next I want to check the testing. For example, 525. I'm going to 500. Okay, so what happens? 500. So I'm typing is 500 input. That's an input. Okay, for this input, what is the output? You're going to check it. Okay, so yes. So now what happens? Data 3 input is ready. Okay, data 3 input is ready. So what happens? So okay, now what happens? Go to network. Okay, the network is actually trained with data 1 and data 2 only. Okay, now you have to fill the data 3 in the network, and you have to find what's the performance for data 3. Okay, what's output for data 3. Okay, so what happens? Simulate data 3. Okay, let's do it. Simulate only simulate data 3 simulate network. So what happens? For the data 3, the network is ready. So you can find out 30 point, for example, 30.072. Okay, so we can find out, yes, 32.5. Okay, so 213, actually 257 here. Okay, next 156. The 112 is there. Okay, next is 32. You can find the value as 39. Next is 33. Here is value is 38. Okay, so what happens? There's some little bit differences there. As like that, you have to repeat uh, you have to repeat the same thing for all the input data, and you have to predict the output. Okay, so this is output. Okay, so what happens? Yes. Okay, so next, I want to check for another input. Yes, I'm going to go to new data 4 input. What's I'm going to check it for 3075. Okay, so 3075. Okay, create. Okay, data 4 is created. So what happens? Again, go for network. Thinks it's already opening. Simulate data 4 simulate network. No sir, I want to change the name. Yes, we can change the name, network output. Okay, so yes, for this data 4 network gives 1. Okay, so can need open it. What happens? We can find out 3075, I think so. So what's our input here? 3075. Yes, this is output. Okay, so what's the value is that? 3075, 31. What's coming here? 30. Next is 209. What's coming here? 201. Next is what's 122. What's coming here? 147. Next 31, 33. Here what happens? 28, 33. So yes, like that. Okay, so we have to predict like this. After that, we have to already, okay, these values are there. Am I right? This is testing values. Okay, so whatever things give the input, okay, you'll get that. This is experimental value. This is a predict value from the network. You have to make a graph. Once if you make a graph, yes, we can find out. So for each and every output. So what happens? This external output, this predicted output. What happens? You have to make a graph. Let's put experimental and predicted value, experimental predicted value, experimental predicted value, experimental predicted value. So we feed for 5 parameters. Am I correct? BTE and 1 breakthrough efficiency, exit catch temperature, mark, smoke, and hydrocarbons. Okay. So what happens? Yes, I made a comparative analysis. See, and I'll explain how to make a graph. Correlation coefficient should be 0.8632. Here 0.90. Okay, 0.86 understood. 0.9 is acceptable by air. 0.27 is not acceptable. 0.7 is not acceptable. That is not good. I'm not saying that it is acceptable. It is not good. Once we go with the systems, it's fault. Okay. 0.6 is not observable. So what is observed from all the parameters? If any one parameter is not having the value, correlation coefficient is greater than 0.9, don't accept. At least we can have a consideration up to more than 0.8. If it falls less than 0.8, then what happens? That is not a factor. Whatever network is trained automatically, it is not a good network. Okay, so it is observed that from this thing, what happens? Yes, already 0.2 is a very worst condition is there. It is observed that single layer neural network model should not predict the performance. The correlation goes in the range of 0.96 to 0.9. Actually, the research is saying that 0.96 to 9.9, but actually generally it's acceptable from 0.8 to 0.99. Okay, so what happens? It's not accepted. It's not. It is said that network is not in a proper level. Network is not in the proper level. So what I have to do? Yes, sir. That is a drawback of single layer systems. So what happens to that extent? System is trained, but whatever network is trained with respect to input and outputs, with respect to the soft computing, it says that this is my exit, this is my limit. Apart from the limit, so I cannot do anything. Okay. So what happens? It gives a satisfactory results, but not a perfect results. Okay. So what happens? I cannot say it is not good, it's not bad, but it is 30. What happens? It is 70% bad and 30% good. Okay. So what happens? To avoid this thing, I have to go for one more concept is there. Hidden layers. So here I am only single hidden layers. Sometimes researchers are proposing 2 hidden layers, 3 hidden layers and all. Okay. So what happens? We can find out. Again, I'm coming to multi-layer feed forward network, which I can take out. So I have to repeat the same procedure as single layer feed forward network. Define input data and output data from the exploratory analysis. Then frame the architecture of neural network. Next, train the neural network by varying the hidden layer neurons. So this is one important technique what we're going to adopt here. Okay. Next, we evaluate the network performance validations data. Yes, it's like what you said. Is the performance satisfactory? Yes. Not satisfactory? Again, here what happens? Okay, we are not having the right unit. Okay, it is a unsupervised learning. Here, supervised learning system is there. Reinforced learning system is there. Reinforced learning system is there. And the system says that okay, good or bad. So if it is system itself having the capability to say that good or bad, let's put input and output. If it is bad, again, what happens? It tries to vary the neurons in the hidden layers. What is the concept? This yes, we are going to see next upcoming slide. Going to vary the neurons hidden layer. After that, until the performance satisfactory. Once satisfactory, yes, we can predict the data. Okay. So what happens here? I'll explain this thing. Back propagation algorithm. I'm saying that if you're giving the inputs, okay, you're giving the inputs, okay, you're giving the outputs, okay. So what happens? 2 inputs are there, okay, and 1 output is there. This one neuron, okay. So what happens? Okay. So here what happens? We have neurons. So what happens? 2 neurons, 2 inputs are coming. It's 2 weights are there, and finally get the output. As like that, what happens? Yes, we have the neurons. Inputs are there. So hidden layers, first hidden layer, second hidden layer, output. Okay, I'm having 2 hidden layers. Okay, inputs plus weights, inputs plus weights, input plus weights, okay, input plus weights, input plus weights. Okay, by summing this 2 input the weights, this input the weights will get the output. Okay, that output will be transferred to here with this weights. Okay, as like that, what happens? The system is going on. Okay, they're going on. Adding the weights with respect to inputs for each and every neurons, okay, and gives the answer to the input transfer to the transfer as input to other neurons. Okay, so what happens? These things will be happen. Okay, not a problem. Okay. So kindly come to this thing. Develop a network architecture as 2-1-5 configuration. That means 2 input layer and going for 1 hidden layer, 5 output layer. That's the thing we are saying the 2-1-5 configuration. Input layer. 2 neurons input layer, 1 hidden layer. This indicates neurons. Here indicates neurons. Input layer automatically final is output layer. I am saying that only 1 hidden layer. 2 neurons in input layer, 5 neurons in output layer. Right? But 1 indicates only hidden layer. Not saying how much neurons in hidden layer. Okay. So 1 hidden layer is the neurons and output layer. That means what I'm saying indicate layer indicates a blend and load. output indicates the 5 outputs and one hidden layer with neurons. Okay, same thing, same process I'm going to repeat for this network also. Approximately 17% of readings are used for training, 30% readings for testing. Okay, backpropagation algorithm is the Levenberg model, uses training function. Okay, and sigmoid linear function is going to accuracy hidden function for output layers. Okay, what will be Levenberg? So you can vary the algorithm, you can vary the threshold function. Okay, you can vary the transfer function. Okay, so first I'm going to fit the backpropagation, Levenberg, and sigmoid functions. Okay, so this is the network. Okay, so modeling with backpropagation algorithm. Modeling with backpropagation algorithm. This is inputs as already said. Okay, so what happens? I'm going to I'm going to write all the things again. I'm going to put the concern for multi-layer systems. Otherwise, leave it. I go to again, type NN tool. Yes, I'm getting this. Okay, so leave it again. What happens? Import. No, sorry, I want to add first data 1 as the input. Okay, next data 2 is a target. Okay, next close this, export, select all, export to variables have been exported to workspace. Now workspace is ready to add the data. Okay, so what happens here? Same data is going to be here. Already I am having 20% readings are there, and there is the input for 70% of readings. Yes, copy it. Okay, if you have n number of data, it is very difficult to type it. Okay, so what happens if you keep it in Excel like this? Yes, we can copy it and paste. So similarly, coming here, what happens? Copy this data as output. Okay, copying this data as a output and paste it here. Okay, so data 1, data 2 is ready now. Next, I want to import the data from the workspace. So import the data 1 as a input data. Okay, import. Yes, it's ready. Next, go to data 2 as a target data. Yes, it's ready. Okay, you have to be very careful citing input and output target data. Okay. Okay, so close it. So kindly check it, the data is ready. Yes, this is 2 inputs here, 5 into 13 outputs. Okay, 5 into 13 rows. So now go to new network. Okay, so what happens? Network 1 is fit for backwards algorithm. Data 1 is the input data. Here, data 2 is the target data. Train LMS Levenberg Margaret function. The remaining things are. Now I am going to add one hidden layer. Okay, one hidden layer means what happens? Hidden layer. Okay, so one hidden layer means I already said one hidden layer becomes to picture. Okay, so see, one hidden layer is going to picture. Okay, so one layer, 5 output, 2 input, one hidden layers. Okay, so only single hidden layer is there. Yes, we are having the provisions to add a number of hidden layers. Okay, so what happens? So I'm standing here. Okay, I'm going to add 4. Can you check it? 4. Enter. Then go to layer 1. Okay, layer 1, 2 inputs, tan sigmoid function. Layer 2 is a hidden layer. Okay, I am going layer 2 is a hidden layer. Always first layer and last layer is first layer is input layer, last layer is output layer. Here, mid-between layers are hidden layers. Okay, layer 2 is hidden layer. I am going to fix 10 neurons. I am going to start with 10 neurons. Okay, and that is all the tan sigmoid functions. Coming to layer 3. Okay, 5 neurons. That is the default. Okay, we cannot change. We are not having the right to change it. Okay, that is also tan sigmoid. Okay, final output should be linear. That's all. Okay, so layer 4, that is not any defined layer. That is a dummy layer, but from the output. Okay, from the output, it's called as output layer 4. But anyway, we are not having neurons. That should be pure linear. Okay. So what happens again? Data 1, data 2. So coming to layer 1, 2 neurons, that is fixed tan sigmoid. That is a hidden layer, imaginary layer. We are adding that. So I am having the right to fix the neurons. I am starting from 10 neurons. I want to vary the neurons. Okay, what I said in the flowchart, you're not getting the performance satisfactory. Yes, I want to vary the number of neurons hidden layer. Yes, so I'm going to start from 10. Okay, performance not satisfactory. Again, I want to change the neurons here 20, 15, 16, 18, 20. Okay, so layer 3. 5 neurons is fixed. This is output layer. Okay, 5 outputs are there. That is called as 5 neurons tan sigmoid. Coming to layer 4. Okay, there's a pure linear. Okay, I'm creating. Okay, now it's created. Now it's created. Okay, so now what happens? Come here, your network is ready. So again, you have to repeat the same process what you done for single layer. Data 1, data 2, training parameters, and fixing 1 lakh epochs. That means 1 lakh iterations have to be happen. My goal is error should be 0.001. Okay, so train network. Okay, okay. So now we can see that the network neural tree tool actually we have trained the network. Okay, so what I said again, really check it. Data 1 is input, data 2 is a target. I am training the network. After that, going to train parameters, I want to say 1 lakh epochs and simulation is 0.001. Okay, so here you have to check with the epochs is 1 lakh epochs and goal is 0.001 and you have to train the neural network. Okay, before not fixing the epochs and the goal, don't train the network, then system leads to failure. Okay, so what happens at 6th iteration itself, your system is stopped. Okay, that means if you are going for n number of iterations only, the weights will be automatically adjusted. Okay, if it stops excitation, what happens? Anyway, the network is not clear. Anyway, we can check the performance. So in the performance graph, we can find out. Okay, so 428.236 exponent epoch 0. That means it's not good. Okay, how it's not good means I will give the proper justification in the forthcoming slide. Okay, so what happens? The iteration have to be goes around. Since we fixed 1 lakh iterations, iteration have to be goes on increasing more than 100 200 iterations means then only system will be perfectly in this perfectly good. Okay, if it's not perfectly good, with less number of iterations, that means single digit iterations or double digit iterations, what it indicates, it's good, but it's not up to that level. Okay, so anyway, you can close it, and after that we can go for including the data. So again, add the data. Okay, so instead of going for input, we have to go for data and data 3, and we have to check out. Now system is trained. Okay, so now the network is trained with respect to your inputs and outputs. Now we have to predict the output. Okay, so what you have to do? Go to input and create. Okay, new inputs called data 3 added to network data manager. Okay, say okay and try to click here. What I have to do is I want to predict the output of any one thing. That means it's already you predict the same thing in the single input layer. You have to repeat the same procedure for multi output layer. Okay, so what happens? I'm going to copy 3075. Copy 3075. Okay, now what happens? Yes, already my data is 3075. Instead of 3075, I'm going for 6050. Okay, so what happens? 6050. Okay, okay. So now what's the data is 60 50. Okay. Now again I want to go to network, simulate, going for train. Already I trained with data 1 and target is data 2. Okay, not target data. Okay, this input, this output. Okay, what are the input and data is already initialized. You have to fix the thing. Okay, and simulate is, so you have to fix again train data 1, data 2. Again, simulate is data 3. Here you can say the data number is network is name is 3 output. Okay, yes, network is simulated and the results are stored in the network data manager. How fast it's responding. Then go to network output. Here you can find out. Okay, what's output you feed it here is, you can check it here. Input is 6050. Okay, so come here again. Okay, so 6050 you can find out first value is 26. Okay, so 26, sorry, 18 is coming. Okay, next is 147. Yes, exactly 147 is coming. 125, 105 is coming. 25, 22 is coming. 30, 29 is coming. Okay, so what happens as like that? Okay, as like that. For example, again, once again repeating the same project for one more data, going here new. Okay, I am adding data 4 as an input. Okay, so I am giving in 90 100. Okay, I am giving 90 100. 90 100. Okay, after that, okay, so what happens? 90 100. If you given the 90 100, okay, click to network. Okay, network, go to train. Input is data 1, target is data 2, and simulate it. Okay, and simulate it. Okay, and simulate. go to input data 4, okay, and you have to say the network is, I'm saving the name as network 4. Already that network is trained. In the train network, okay, I'm taking the same input and output and going to simulate. What the input I'm giving is a data 4, okay. So in the data 4 I am saving the file as a network 4 outputs and I'm going to simulate it, okay. That means yes, you can find out what's output is coming, okay. Coming here, okay. Yeah, so what's output? 1900. So 30.76, 22 is coming. Then 262, 218 is coming. 126, 153 is coming. And 45, 28.18 is coming. 33, 35.91 is coming. Okay. So then, yeah, as like that. Okay, as like that. Each and everything, so you have to do it. Each and everything, so you have to do it and find out the output data. And you have to compare. You have to take the data. So you have to take all the data. As you take all the data and copy it like this. Okay. So what time this is, you can find it here. Prediction data. Okay, this is experimental data. Okay. What you keep it for your test checking purpose. Okay. What I am saying again, these are the total 21 data I'm having. Among 21 data, I am taking 13 data for training. These are 13 data. What I highlighted randomly. You can take the random thing. Okay. What happens? Take the data. Okay, and this for training. Okay, with the data, network is trained. Once the network is trained, what are data are not highlighted, take that is as an input and find what's output is coming for the corresponding input. Okay, so you have to repeat the process for each and every input and note the output as like this. Okay, then you can make a graph. So already we are having the data for this, and this is predicted data what I got it from the train network. Okay, so what happens? You have to make a graph. Okay, so how you make a graph means, okay, see. So this is a graph. You have to make a graph. For example, exponential breakthrough efficiency, predicted breakthrough efficiency. That means what I'm saying that here, see, exponential, this is a breakthrough efficiency. Am I correct? I'm converting this horizontal into vertical. Okay, vertical for plotting a graph. In this graph we have to plot. Okay, but what here I explain what's happening here. What happened? Breakthrough efficiency, exponential breakthrough efficiency, predicted breakthrough efficiency. Okay, for example, coming to first reading, 16. Okay, yeah, 16. Here what happens? This is a already what things we got it from the explore setup. Okay, but here what happens? 11. So coming here 11. So 11, 16. Okay, that's like that. Okay, so coming to here, for example, last value is 30.76, 35.04, 30.6. Okay, 35.04. Okay, as like that you have to plot a graph. This graph we have to find out, okay, from the Google and make a graph, and we have to plot a graph. Okay. The graph is plotted between the experimental versus predicted for each and every output. For example, I am say plotted for exhaust gas temperature, that is called as EGT, NOx emission, smoke, and hydrocarbon emissions. Okay, each and everything, so you have to plot a graph like this and find out what's a correlation coefficient is there. Okay, so what happens? Yes, we are having there some options there. Trying to surf in that Excel. Okay, if you plot a graph, automatically what happens? Correlation coefficient will be, okay, highlighted here. Okay, that means R square. Okay, R square is equal to 0.86, 0.9008. For coming to, for example, coming to here, what happens? You can find out for multi-layer, R is equal to 0.87, 0.53, 0.87, 0.87, 0.6. So what's the problem is here? For NOx is 0.5. For hydrocarbon is 0.6. Okay, so for what happens, 0.5 and 0.6 is not coming good. So what happens? Actually I made an attempt with 8 neurons. Okay, but what the things I made in the demo is a 10 neurons. Even though 8 neurons not giving the result. Okay, coming to again 10 neurons. What I made in the demo for 10 neurons, they didn't layer. Okay, you can find out 0.9 is smoke. NOx is 0.6 is coming, 0.8, 0.8, 0.8, but NOx is having the problem. Since even the 10 neurons are there, should not predict the performance with the correlation coefficient. Okay, should not predict the performance, and valid correlation coefficient is 0.68 to 0.92. What I said is more than 0.8 is good. Okay, so again I'm getting the 12 neurons. What I am saying here in the performance graph, since the performance is not satisfactory, again I want to train by varying the hidden layer neurons, okay. For example, what are the sample is shown is here. First for 8 neurons. Okay, first for 8 neurons, next is 10 neurons. Okay, next is 12 neurons. The 12 neurons, what happens? The same methodology you have added for 12 neurons. Okay, I will explain how to vary the neurons hidden layer. Okay, so what happens? Breakthrough efficiencies. Kind of Rate limitation is one output is 0.9, hydrocarbon power output is 0.9, EGT is 0.8, NOx is 0.9, and smoke is 0.9. Yes. Then what happens? It is observed that total neurons should predict the performance of correlation coefficient of 0.87 to 0.9. Okay, that means what I'm saying that yes, it's all the output parameters having the correlation. We can say that R is a correlation coefficient. Correlation coefficient falls between the range of 0.872. Okay, 0.872 to 0.99. Actually, it not should not. Okay, it predicts the performance with the correlation coefficient of 0.87 to 0.9. Then it's acceptable level. Okay, then we can find out single layer. Okay, that means sorry, input layer with 2 neurons, output layer with 5 neurons, and single hidden layer, one hidden layer with 12 neurons is the best. That's the thing I'm saying here. I might attempt with 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So what will make train rule? I already said train LM is a train Leeuwenberg equation. Okay. So train LM is a train Leeuwenberg equation. Okay. So coming to here, sigma linear function. What I said here, for example, layer 1 is a tan sigmoid, layer 2 is a tan sigmoid, tan 3 is a okay, 10 pairs of pure linear. So what all layers coming is a sigmoid function. Final output is should be a linear function. Okay, that's my task. That's my limit. What I fixed here. Okay. So what happens if we fixed like this? Yes, you can. I vary the neurons. The function is same. Activation function is same. Threshold I fix the same. But I vary the neurons and find out. See correlation coefficient. How we get the correlation coefficient? So you have to sum all the correlation coefficients. For example, if you coming to 12, I am having 5 parameters. Am I correct? So 0.9, 0.97, 0.87, 0.99, and 0.992. You have to take the average of all the correlation coefficients and put finally that's a correlation coefficient. Okay. So and finally one more condition is that correlation coefficient should be crosses 0.98. So 0.8765, 0.96, 0.982, 0.981, 0.975, 0.97, 0.98, 0.974. Okay, but here you can find out 0.982 is the best. That means train total is the best. And one more condition is each and every output it crosses point more than 85. Okay, you can find out 0.98. Yes, it crosses 0.85. Greater than 0.85, greater than 0.85, greater than 0.85, greater than 0.85, greater than 0.85. So it satisfies 2 conditions. You cannot take consolidated correlation coefficient. First, you have to check it each and individual output correlation coefficient. If it crosses more than 0.5, yes, it's acceptable. After that, you have to take the average of all the correlation coefficients and put it here. As like that, I'm done it for all the things. Even though you can find out 8 neurons is not best, I can take on the correlation coefficient, average correlation coefficient with all the parameters, and I floated here. And highlighting is 12 neurons. That means 12 neurons with a single hidden layer. I am making an attempt with only single hidden layer. That is says optimum. Okay, that means you have to train the neural networks. Okay, with the varying number of hidden layers. What I am saying here, so how we have to vary the hidden layers? How we have to vary the neurons? To come here, as already said, for example, layer 1 is there. Am I correct? Layer 2 is hidden layer. Say I made an attempt with 10 neurons. Sir, if you want to make it with 12 neurons, yes, we can change it here. Okay, after that come to layer 1 and layer 3 neurons are fixed. Okay, layer 2 only you're having the option to change the neurons hidden layer, like just layer 2 is hidden layer. Okay, layer 4 is yes, it is a duplicate layer, it comes out pure linear. Okay, so what happens? You have to vary first, you have to vary the neurons in the neurons means you have to vary the neurons in the hidden layer. Okay, this remaining things are fixed. If it's still going on varying the neurons, what happens? The weights will be automatically balanced, automatically tuned depending upon the given input and given output. Okay, how far you varying the neurons hidden layers, such much accuracy, such much precise things will get it. That means such much precise network you get it from this thing. Once you get the network, what happens? Okay, perfect network. Yes, you can predict the things. You can predict your performance. Okay. The error of 0.001. Okay, that's true. So this is the things. Okay, sir, I want to make an attempt on multi-layer neural architecture. Yes, coming to here, yes, the same thing is there. Okay, multi-layer artificial networks for predicting the performance. Here, what you say is single hidden layer, but here we can find out 2 hidden layers, sir. So, okay, since you're making an attempt on single hidden layers, here you can find out 12 neurons is best. Sometimes what happens, 1 hidden layer you can vary from 8 to 20. You'll get the correlation coefficient is 0.8 or 0.7. 0.7. You think of it, all the correlation coefficient is 0.7. That is not acceptable. Okay. So what happens again? That means the weights not properly balanced with respect to the given input and given output. Okay. So what happens again? You have to add one more natural layer that is called as hidden layer. sorry, artificial hidden layer is called as hidden layer. Okay, that is hidden layer 1 and 2. Okay, the same process you have to repeat for this thing also. Okay, oh, there's a difference for the single layer. That's a single hidden and two hidden layer means, for example, come to here. Okay, what happens? I'm going for layer 1. Am I correct? So 2 neurons, that's fixed. After that, so that means I want to go for two layer means I have to add 5 here. Okay, layer 1 is, so after 5 enter it, then only you find the changes here. Layer 1 is 2 neurons, that is fixed. Okay, layer 2 is, yes, that is single layer. Single hidden layer, I am starting from 8. Okay, then coming to layer 3, I am starting from 6. Okay, so what happens? You can find out layer 1 is 8 neurons, layer 3 is, there's 2 hidden layers, 6 neurons. Okay, so layer 1 is layer 2 is single hidden layer is 8 neurons, layer 3 second hidden layer 6 neurons. That is also for TANSIC. Layer 4 is find output layer, output neurons should be there, 5 neurons should be there. And coming to layer 5, that's dummy layer, but output should be a pure linear. Okay, the output of the that means the transfer function of the output layer should be a pure linear. So only we adding the duplicate layer and output of the the transfer function output layer should be pure linear. Then only got the results. Okay, then create it. Okay, so please write input data for creating network. Okay. Okay, so what happens? What I'm saying that here, so try to delete this thing. I will explain one things to you. Okay, so go to new network. Okay, select data 1, target data is data 2. Okay, find 5 number of layers. First layer is 2 neurons, super. Second layer is first hidden layer. I'm starting from 8. Okay, we are not having any limits, we are not having any things to, so we have to start from 2. It's up to you, but actually start from 8. We already made a single hidden layer up to 20 neurons, and we finding that we are having a problem. Okay, but we can start with the 8 number of neurons at 10, 8 at 10. Okay, that's very easy for you. Layer 3 is I'm going for 16, or you can, I'm making another 10 for example. Okay, so 10 neurons. That's also layer 4 is, yes, pure linear. Okay, then layer 5 is pure. We have to put it 5. Okay, we have to stop, we have to show the properties of layer 5 pure linear. After that only you have to create a 5. Okay, network is added. Okay, once a network is added, network 2, okay, we can write this network 1. That is for single hidden layers. Okay, then go for network 2, train. As I already said, train data is 1 is input, data 2 is the target output. Then training parameters, I am fixing 1 lakh gross, and goal is 0.001 train network. Okay, yes, system is, since the iteration is stopped 6. Okay, anyway, so since iteration is stopped up to 6th iteration, you can find out what's the performance coming with this train network. Okay, so yes, now I am feeding the one more data as like the previous thing. Sorry, you have to use the file new instead of import. Okay, data 2, I am creating this data 3075 creating. Okay, once it's created, go to network 2. Okay, train data 1, target is data 2, define input, simulate data 3. I'm saving the name as network 3 output. Okay, yes, now we can see the result, what result is coming. Okay, for 30 sorry, for 3075. Okay, this is the thing, am I correct? So minus 9 point sorry 3075 minus 9 point, it's coming, not coming accurately. Okay, anyway, 205. Okay, 205, 201 is coming, 97, 147, 77, 28, 1933. Okay, there's some problem in the network, you have to train the network carefully. Okay, I think I not checked the parameters very carefully. Anyway, this is the way we have to carry out. Okay, so what happens once you create all the things, you have to feed the data. For example, data 3, one input is data. Am I correct? Again, go for data. Again, you have to change it. Okay, what the inputs you needed, kindly change it here. For example, 60. Okay, 75. You have to put a semicolon. Okay, 75. Okay, inputs. Okay, once you created like this, go to network 2. Okay, then train data 1, data 2, simulate is data simulate data 4. Say the file as data 4. Okay, simulate. Okay, so and after that for this input you get the output. Okay, and you have to note the output and you make a note of this output like this. After that you have to make a graph. So what I'm saying here, okay, so hidden layer 1 is there, hidden layer 2 is there. Okay, it's up to you. Okay, so what happens, see, same exploratory analysis. I am making an attempt first hidden layer 6 to 12, 6 to 12 neurons, and second layer 8 to 10. That means combination is 2, 6, 8, 5. 2, 6, 2, 6, 8, 5. 2, 6, 2, 6, 10. 2, 2, 6, 10, 5. For example, you can find out here. Okay, first one is 6 neurons, second one is 10 neurons. What I am saying, the 2 means input layer. 6 is 6 neurons hidden layer. 10 is 10 neurons hidden layer. And 5 means 5 neurons in the output layer. Okay, it indicates all the neurons. Okay, so 2, 6, 10, 5. Okay, so what's the performance? We can find out what's the performance is coming. 0.6 is coming. Yes, is not acceptable. So 0.9, 0.8 is acceptable. 0.06 is never accepted. 0.5 is never accepted. So as like that, I am varying the neurons. It's up to you. Varying the neurons 8, 10. You can random vary. You have to vary randomly. Yes, for here 0.95, 0.2 is coming, not accepted. 0.97, 0.87 is accepted. 0.79 is also accepted because coming is 0.8. But due to this thing, yes, it's not accepted. Okay, there are two rules are there. First one is all the parameters should be crosses. It should be greater than 0.85. Okay, and after the second thing is if you take average correlation coefficient, it should be also crosses more than 0.9. Okay, then I am varying the neurons in the first layer is 10, second is 10 neurons second layer. As like that, vary it and find that. Okay, 0.9, 0.9, 0.8, 0.95, again 0.79. Anyway, it's accepted. Okay, because it comes 0.99. Okay, so what I'm saying that, for example, as like the multi-layer singleton layers, I have to vary the neurons 6, 8 means 6 neurons in the first hidden layer, 8 neurons in the second hidden layer, 6 neurons in the second and first hidden layer, 10 neurons second hidden layer, 12 neurons in the first hidden layer, 10 neurons in the second hidden layer. Okay, then I'm getting the is 0.8 to 0.99. Then my inferences from the table is I infer that 12 and 10 neurons, 12 neurons in the first hidden layer and 10 neurons second layer predicts the performance accurately. Okay, hence 12 to 10 multi-layer neural is found to be optimum. Okay, so what I am saying that you have to train the neural network as like this. What I am explained in the hands-on in the lecture. Okay, so try to make an attempt. Okay, try to make an attempt first single layer neural network architecture by yourself, then multi-layer with single hidden layers. Okay, this is the single layer. Okay, multi-layer with single hidden layers, then multi-layer with two hidden layers. The same exploits for the same exploratory analysis. Okay, so you have to make a graph. Coming here, what happens? You can find out the multi-layer. Okay, you can find out input layer, output layer. Okay, input layer is 2 always, hidden layer is 6, and then output layer. Okay, so you can find out breakthrough efficiency. This is a BTE, EGT, NOx, smoke, hydrocarbons. Okay, coming here, the same thing. I'm varying the neurons 8, 10. Okay, then 12, 10. As like that, but I forgot to mark the correlation coefficient. In the graph, you have to identify how to mark the correlation coefficient, and we have to mark it like this. Okay, that means yes, here see 0.9, 0.97, 0.87, 0.992, 0.97. It's acceptable. Okay, so kindly make note of the condition. All the output parameters, the correlation coefficient should be crosses more than 0.8, greater than 0.85. First thing. And second thing, if you want to take average correlation coefficient, see that's also crosses greater than 0.9, and you have to compare among all the correlation coefficients and you have to say which is best. Okay, which neuron is best. Okay, if you put it like this, it's very easy to predict the performance. Okay, and this says 12 neurons with a single hidden layers is the best network in compared to other networks. Okay, our network is all trained, but we are having error. You can find out 0.00 errors. What I fixed is 0.990 gold. That is a error. Okay, so as like that, we have to repeat the same process for all the single layers, multi-layer with the single hidden layers, multi-layer with 2 hidden layers. Okay, after that you have to find which is best. Okay, so this is the way you have to carry out the prediction, carry out the prediction performance of the any setups, any experiments like this. Okay, we have to train very carefully, take the data very carefully, select the data very carefully. You have to train the network. Okay, so if you train the network like this, it's very easy to predict the performance. Not only this engine performance, not only engine performance, you can predict in whatever performance needed from your side. And this most important thing, you can use for results also. And second thing is, if you go like this, for example, if you're having 1 lakh readings, okay, so 70% readings, 70,000, with the 70,000 readings, you can predict the remaining 30,000 readings. For example, if you want to run the any setup for remaining 30,000 readings, it takes around 2 months or 3 months. Okay, so with the existing performance of current 2 months or 3 months, we can going to predict the performance of remaining 2 months of the experiment or any setups. Okay, so this is the things what I have to say from my side. Kindly make a practice by yourself. Okay, it's for single layers. Okay, and we can have a discussion in the class. Okay, thank you.